Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to Jan's beautiful gallery here in Summerland, British Columbia. A lot of my talks, people ask me how Janice and I ended up being together for now 38 years and working in film and television. And I said, even though we worked a lot of different hours, we left a lot of notes on the fridge for each other. So that was our way of communicating if I was working nights and she was working days. And it always went well, but occasionally, in a long-term relationship, especially when one person's a property master and the other person's a set decorator, you can sometimes make a mistake in props that the set decorator will be angry at you for a while, and you don't have to be married to the set decorator to have them mad at you, but it makes it a lot harder when you are married to the set decorator and she's mad at you. And such was the case back in right after Legends of the Fall. Again, did a big film, and coming into the fall had an opportunity to do a small TV movie, or so I thought, and got talked into doing it as the property master. And it turns out it was about the Donner Party trapped in the Sierra Nevada mountains. And so it wasn't an easy shoot by any stretch of the imagination. And unfortunately, one day I tried to contact the office about a roast I needed on set, and well, it didn't go well. And I dubbed the roast Frankenroast. And here's the story from my book about that moment. It was a frantic prep. Luckily, because of broadcast standards and practice, we were not going to feature the cannibalism part of the Donner Party. For the wagon train part, I was doing stews and cookouts when the director came up to me late in the afternoon and asked for a small piece of meat on the fire for the next day. It was for a shot to establish the small roast would show that they were running out of food, and this was the last piece of solid meat they had. I went to the AD trailer, and over a poor phone connection, I asked the production office to get Janice, who was decorating the film, to buy a 3 to 5 pound roast and cook it. Janice and I had worked different hours. She started in the morning, but I was filming from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. So we would always leave notes for each other on the fridge. When I got home at around 2 a.m., I was greeted by a rather terse note that said my effing roast was in the studio. We had a small art studio in our home. I did not understand the nasty note because Janice does not swear. I walked into the studio and did not see the roast. Then I spotted a large mound of tinfoil. When I lifted the tinfoil, I was staring at a 30-pound roast. The office got the message wrong. Janice's buyer ended up in a meatpacking plant, having them make a Frankenroast in no time. Janice was trying to cook it in our oven, which was far too small, and the juices ran out of the oven onto the floor. There she was, smoke pouring out of the oven, smoke detector blaring, and our 3 dogs lapping up the juice as it spilled on the floor. I was a dead man walking. At least she's sleeping, I thought, but as I entered the bedroom, I realized angry wives do not sleep. I got the "have you lost your mind" speech. I pleaded that I only needed a 3-pound roast, not 30. The office got the message wrong. The next morning, I cut off the piece I needed and walked up to the caterer with the rest of my Frankenroast in a garbage bag. "Would you guys like to use this roast up?" I asked. The chef looked in the bag and asked where I got such a big roast. "Whatever you do, don't ask Janice about it," was all I said in the reply. We had chili for a couple of days on set after that, which it turns out, like the cabbage on Unforgiven, is not an ideal food for groups of people who work closely together. The cabbage story was one night during the epic shootout at the end of Unforgiven, where the doors were closed because it was a cold, rainy night. The caterers served cabbage to all the burly men in the saloon, which really wasn't ideal food. So Clint banned cabbage from the set after that. Needless to say, there's many food adventures in my book. They don't pay me to say no. My life in film and television props. And all I want to do is make you smile all the way through this book. And I hope these stories do. Have a great day, everybody.